Hi, champions. It's Saturday. You might hear some music in the background. That's Casey and Mr. Ridpath recording some music for our church since we can't meet at church right now. So if you hear any singing, that's what it is. Hershey's here. Give me a kiss. Hershey's here to say hi. And today I'm going to read Mike Mulligan and his steam shovel. Now, Joanna, this is an AR book, and I know you like to take AR tests, so you might want to think about checking this one out. Mike Mulligan and the steam shovel. Mike Mulligan and his steam shovel. And later I'm going to read another book to you called The Little House, which is by the same author. And this is dedicated to someone named Mike. And this book was written, let's see. This actual book is not this old, but this book was written before my mother was even born. And my mom is 76 years old. This book was written, I believe, the year my mother-in-law was born, and it is 1939. Wow. Mike Mulligan had a steam shovel, a beautiful red steam shovel. You see Hershey licking my lotion off my arm. Her name was Mary Ann. Mike Mulligan was very proud of Mary Ann. He always said that she could dig as much in a day as 100 men could dig in a week. But he'd never been quite sure that this was true. Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann had been digging together for years and years. Mike Mulligan took such good care of Mary Ann, she never grew old. It was Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann and some others who dug the great canals for the big boats to sail through. It was Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann and some others who cut through the high mountains so that trains could go through. Remember, this was written a really long time ago, so some areas were still just doing things like this. We've already built a lot of things around here, but there were some remote areas, some areas farther away that were still building roads and things like that. It was Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann and some others who lowered the hills and straightened the curves to make the long highways for the automobiles. It was Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann and some others who smoothed out the ground and filled in the holes to make the landing fields for the airplanes. And you can see the old-fashioned looking airplane. Can you hear Casey singing? And it was Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann and some others who dug the deep holes for the cellars of the tall skyscrapers in the big cities. When people used to stop and watch them, Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann used to dig a little faster and a little better. The more people stopped, the faster and the better they dug. Some days they would keep as many as 37 trucks busy taking away the dirt they had dug. I think everybody works a little bit better when you have an audience. Then along came the new gasoline shovels, and the new electric shovels, and the new diesel motor shovels. They took all the jobs away from the steam shovels. Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann were very sad. Look, there's a sign on the gate, on the fence, and it says, "No steam shovels wanted." All the other steam shovels were being sold for junk, were left out in old gravel pits to rust and fall apart. Mike loved Mary Ann. He couldn't do that to her. He had taken such good care of her that she could still dig as much in a day as 100 men could dig in a week. At least he thought she could, but he wasn't quite sure. Everywhere they went, the new gas shovels and the new electric shovels and the new diesel motor shovels had all the jobs. No one wanted Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann anymore. Then one day Mike read in a newspaper that the town of Popperville was going to build a new town hall. "We are going to dig the cellar of that town hall," said Mike to Mary Ann, and off they started. I wonder if Popperville is anything like Colonial Heights. I bet it is. They left the canals and the railroads and the highways and the airports and the big cities where no one wanted them anymore and went away out in the country. They crawled along slowly up the hills and down the hills till they came to the little town of Popperville. Doesn't that look like a really cute little town? Look at that little church in there and the store. When they got there, they found that the selectmen, those are kind of like the city council, I think, were just deciding who should dig the cellar for the new town hall. A cellar is a little bit like a basement. Mike Mulligan spoke to Henry B. Swap, one of the selectmen. "I heard," he said, "that you are going to build a new town hall. Mary Ann and I will dig the cellar for you in just one day." "What?" said Henry B. Swap. "Dig a cellar in a day? It would take 100 men at least a week to dig the cellar for our new town hall." "Sure," said Mike, "but Mary Ann can dig as much in a day as 100 men can dig in a week." Though he had never been quite sure that this was true. Then he added, "If we can't do it, you won't have to pay." Henry B. Swap thought that this would be an easy way to get part of the cellar dug for nothing. So he smiled in a rather mean way, and he gave the job of digging the cellar of the new town hall to Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann. He thinks he's going to get some free work out of this. Hershey, do you like this book? What do you think, buddy? They started in early the next morning, just as the sun was coming up. Soon, a little boy came along. "Do you think you'll finish by sundown?" he said to Mike Mulligan. "Sure," said Mike. "If you stay and watch us, we always work faster and better when someone is watching us." So the little boy stayed to watch. Then Mrs. McGillicuddy, Henry B. Swap, and the town constable came over to see what was happening, and they stayed to watch. Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann dug a little faster and a little better. This gave the little boy a good idea. Let's move this so you can see Hershey. He ran off and told the postman with the morning mail, the telegraph boy on his bicycle, the milkman with his cart and horse, the doctor on his way home, and the farmer and his family coming into town for the day, and they all stopped and stayed to watch. Now, why did the little boy ask all those people to watch? What do you think, Christian? You can usually figure these things out. That's right. Because it would make her dig faster and better. That made Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann dig a little faster and a little better. They finished the first corner neat and square, but the sun was getting higher. See the transportation from the past, guys? Horses and carts. Clang, 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 the fire department arrived. They had seen the smoke and thought there was a fire. Then the little boy said, "Why don't you stay and watch?" So the fire department of Popperville stayed to watch Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann. When they heard the fire engine, the children in the school across the street couldn't keep their eyes on their lessons. The teacher called a long recess, and the whole school came out to watch. That made Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann dig still faster and still better. They finished the second corner, neat and square, but the sun was right up in the top of the sky. Now, the girl who answers the telephone called up the next towns of Bangerville and Bopperville and Kipperville and Copperville and told them what was happening in Popperville. All the people came over to see if Mike Mulligan and his steam shovel could dig the cellar in just one day. The more people came, the faster Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann dug. But they would have to hurry. They were only halfway through, and the sun was beginning to go down. They finished the third corner, neat and square. Still have one more corner. The sun is starting to go down. Never had Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann had so many people to watch them. Never had they dug so fast and so well, and never had the sun seemed to go down so fast. "Hurry, Mike Mulligan, hurry, hurry," shouted the little boy. "There's not much time left." Dirt was flying everywhere, and the smoke and steam were so thick that the people could hardly see anything. But listen. Bing, bang, crash, slam, louder and louder, faster and faster. You getting a little nervous? I'm getting a little nervous. Then, suddenly, it was quiet. Slowly, the dirt settled down. The smoke and steam cleared away, and there was the cellar all finished. 4 corners neat and square, 4 walls straight down, and Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann at the bottom. And the sun was just going down behind the hill. "Hooray," shouted the people. "Hooray for Mike Mulligan and his steam shovel. They have dug the cellar in just one day." Corbin, do you think they could have done that? I don't know. I didn't think they were going to do it, but they did. Suddenly the little boy said, "How are they going to get out?" "That's right," said Mrs. McGillicuddy to Henry B. Swap. "How is he going to get his steam shovel out?" Henry B. Swap didn't answer, but he smiled in a rather mean way. Then everybody said, "How are they going to get out?" "Hi, Mike Mulligan. How are you going to get your steam shovel out?" Mike Mulligan looked around at the 4 square walls and 4 square corners, and he said, "We've dug so fast and we've dug so well that we've quite forgotten to leave a way out. Nothing like this had ever happened to Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann before, and they didn't know what to do." What do you think they're going to do, Lillian? I don't know. Jed, what do you think? Nothing like this had ever happened before in Popperville. Everyone started talking at once, and everybody had a different idea, and everybody thought that his idea was the best. They talked and they talked and they argued and they fought till they were worn out. And still, no one knew how to get Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann out of the cellar they had dug. Then Henry B. Swap said, "The job isn't finished because Mary Ann isn't out of the cellar, so Mike Mulligan won't get paid." And he smiled again in a rather mean way. Now, the little boy, who had been keeping very quiet, had another good idea. Remember I told you sometimes kids can have really good ideas, and you should share them with adults when you have them. He said, "Why couldn't we leave Mary Ann in the cellar and build the new town hall above her? Let her be the furnace for the new town hall." See, back in the past, people had furnaces to heat their houses, and they were thinking that Mary Ann could be the furnace for their house. "And let Mike Mulligan be the janitor. Then you wouldn't have to buy a new furnace, and we could pay Mike Mulligan for digging the cellar in just one day." little boy had a good idea. "Why not?" said Henry B. Swap, and he smiled in a way that was not quite so mean. "Why not?" said Mrs. McGillicuddy. "Why not?" said the town constable. "Why not?" said all the people. So they found a ladder, and they climbed down into the cellar to ask Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann. "Why not?" said Mike Mulligan. So it was decided, and everybody was happy. They built the new town hall right over Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann. It was finished before winter. Every day the little boy goes over to see Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann, and Mrs. McGillicuddy takes some nice hot apple pies. As for Henry B. Swap, he spends most of his time in the cellar of the new town hall, listening to the stories that Mike Mulligan has to tell, and smiling in a way that isn't mean at all. Now, when you go to Popperville, be sure to go down in the cellar of the new town hall. There they'll be, Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann, Mike in his rocking chair smoking his pipe, and Mary Ann beside him, warming up the meetings in the new town hall. That's the end, guys. And you know what tomorrow is. Sunday dance party. Everybody be ready. I'm going to see if I can convince Mr. Redpath again, Casey, Cameron, and Casey's boyfriend, Matt, if we can have a family dance party. Get ready, everybody. I'll see you soon. I love you so much. Step 1, wash your hands. Step 2, don't freak out. That's right. I love you guys. Bye.